everybody, my name is Hexen, bringing you another Tribes Ascend video. Unfortunately, it's going to be a short one, because I literally can't play the game. I wanted to show you some soldier action on dry dock, but about every 5 to 10 minutes, this happens. And I lose chunks of time or get disconnected. The game is pretty much unplayable to me. I can't play the game. Every 5 or 10 minutes, like clockwork, this starts to happen. I don't believe it's my ISP. I did a speed test, which I included right after this little clip here, and everything is fine. I can go to YouTube, watch plenty of videos, watch other people's streams. I can play other games online, no problem. It's only in Tribes Ascend, so I cannot record when I lose chunks out of the gameplay like that. It's just not possible. I can't bring you guys footage when the game keeps crashing for me. So, very unfortunate. I did comb through the forums. I did not find anyone else with similar problems. So if any of the 5 people who watch this channel have similar problems, please let me know, because as far as I can tell, I'm the only one out there with this issue, and I don't know what it is. I did talk to another player who's on my friends list who is experiencing similar issues, and he attributed it to the Tribes Ascend servers, which, in my opinion, I think is the problem. It started last week when I was doing pug matches, and very frustrating, very infuriating, because you'd be right in the middle of a high-level game, and my game would crash, and it would boot me out, and I'd have to reconnect to the Tribes Ascend server. So I have no idea what's going on, but currently I can't play the game because it crashes every 5 minutes. Didn't used to be this way, and I have done nothing on my end, installed no new software, I have not swapped out any new parts or anything like that. Nothing has changed on my end, so I don't know what to tell you. My guess is it's something with the Tribe servers, but like I said, I really don't know. However, I can talk about the current time vampire in my games library, which is this game that you see playing in the background here. This is Sins of a Solar Empire Rebellion, and it is my first taste of the franchise. I have not played any previous title in the franchise. This is my first experience with a Sins of a Solar Empire game. I have been aware of these games for quite some time, and several people have recommended that I buy and play them. I just haven't got around to it until recently, and the only thing I have to say is, why didn't I buy these games earlier? Because it is fantastic. One of the first things that jumped out to me when I fired up the game for the first time was how similar the interface and mechanics were to Forge Alliance Supreme Commander. Total Biscuit did a review on this game when it came out, WTF's Sins of a Solar Empire Rebellion, and he came to the same conclusion, and I agree with him 100%. Very similar concept to how you move about the map and order your units around. If you've ever played Supreme Commander before, you know what I'm talking about. If not, you might, well, I wouldn't even say that. It's very easy to pick up. There's not a huge learning curve here. I was able to understand the game and pick up most of its mechanics after about 2 skirmish games. And skirmish games is all I play in strategy RTS type games. I do not play the multiplayer because I get my ass handed to me, and I do not play the single player because I don't like being restricted on the units I can build, and generally that's what the single player entails. You're just kind of moving along, and you gain access to more units as time goes on, and you're allowed to build more and more stuff. I want access to everything right at the beginning, so I generally play skirmishes when I play strategy games. That's all I play. That's how I enjoy playing. Another thing I want to talk about is just how easy and slick this game is to play. It's very easy to operate. The overall impression I got when I first saw the game being played by other people through videos was that this looks perplexing. What the hell is all this stuff on the screen? There's all these upgrades, some of them with multiple tiers. There's all this shit on the left-hand side. Like, what is all that stuff? Then there's this HUD up at the top, and then down at the bottom, and then in your upper right you have these other numbers. Like, just what is all this stuff? And I didn't really know when I first sat down, but once you play for an hour, you have a pretty good grasp of what's on the screen. You're still going to get rolled, but you kind of understand what's going on, and you pick it up very easily. And that's always a big success in a strategy game of this size, is to make it easy to understand for people who are just coming in. And you always have to wonder if, how the developers sit there and think about that. If they're like, well, I know how to operate this because I designed the freaking game, but how do I make it intuitive and easy to use for people who are just coming in? That is something that I imagine would be extremely difficult to put into a game or to develop with any sort of competence. But they did a fantastic job here. I mean, this game runs flawlessly, and it just works. There's a little box that appears whenever you hover over something, any type of ship, any sort of structure, any sort of upgrade that you're going to be doing. It gives you a description, and it basically holds your hand. It's saying, like, here's what this does. This should be in every strategy game. And most strategy games don't have this. They just kind of like toss you into the frame and be like, oh, here you go. Figure out what the units do. Have fun. This game, not like that at all. It's very informative, and everything can be controlled literally with your mouse hand. I've played entire games with my mouse hand. I have not touched the keyboard once except to assign groups and hotkeys. And that's a testament to just how intuitive the interface and the UI and the mechanics of this game are. When I can play a game of this size with just one hand, that's pretty damn astonishing in my opinion. Another thing I really like about this game that I don't experience in any of the other RTSs that I play is just how macro-oriented the gameplay is. Micromanaging your units is generally not going to win you battles. It's more about who has the best ships, the most upgraded ships, and how many of them there are in any one engagement or any single battle. A lot of your time will be spent in this screen that you see in the background, your upgrade screen, and seeing what your empire needs insofar as fleet capacity, credits, resources including metal and crystal, what you need to do to spread your culture more rapidly. And it's refreshing to play a game that's centered more around macro than micro. And most of the RTSs coming out these days are micro-focused. StarCraft 2, Command & Conquer, Supreme Commander, they all rely on how you control your units to decide battles. And with this, with Sons of a Solar Empire Rebellion, that's not necessarily the case. You can micro, and battles are pretty damn intense. They can get huge with hundreds and hundreds of ships, and they're such a thrill to watch. But microing just doesn't come into the picture all that often. It's more about the machine of your economy and the infrastructure you have behind your fleet and your military might that decide the outcome of battles. Here in the background I loaded a different game so I could show you guys some combat, and I have to say, if you have Eyefinity, these battles are freaking epic. There is nothing like watching a battle unfold in front of you on 648, 643, 640 something by 1080 resolution. It's just massive, and it's so enjoyable to just sit back and watch your fleet demolish the enemy. There's nothing better. There's nothing better in the game. It's pure visual orgasm, and it's so fun to watch and so neat to see all the intricacies of combat, all the little ships duking it out, all the missiles flying at the enemy, your lasers, your Titan ship, which is your most powerful ship, decimating the enemy fleet. It's just such an awesome sight to behold. I run the game in Eyefinity, and if you can run the game in Eyefinity, if you're an Eyefinity gamer or plan on upgrading to Eyefinity, this game takes full advantage of it. It looks gorgeous. It looks beautiful in Eyefinity. The battles get even larger. You can see even more going on in the background. And there's not a lot of fisheye, which is a good thing. Battlefield 3 has way worse fisheye than this game does. So that's a huge plus as well. There are a few negative trade-offs to Eyefinity. Your trade ships, the automated trade system that's happening in the background, you can't see those icons, and you don't see the icons move from world to world as they go about the routes. I personally don't care. There's no reason to look at them anyway. They're completely automated. The game runs them in the background, so there's no need for you to click on them and control them. The second and probably the most biggest drawback of Eyefinity is that it splits up your HUD, it moves what you see on the left-hand screen to the far left of the left-hand monitor, and it moves your resource counter in the upper right to the far right of your right-hand monitor. And if you want to be looking at everything at once, it's just not going to be feasible. You're going to have to turn your head to look at your fleet logistics and your planet logistics, and turn your head to look at your resources and the icon HUDs that pop up when you hover over upgrade ships, planets, etc., etc. Not really a huge game breaker for me either, or a deal breaker for me either. I would much rather play an Eyefinity and have to turn my head to look at these HUD elements than play on a single screen and just have everything right there in front of me. I kind of just get into the game, I use my imagination a little bit, and I say, yeah, I'm a badass. I need 3 monitors to govern this huge empire that I'm creating. Who wants to run it on a single wussy monitor when you can run it on 3 in a huge resolution? So that's just the way I look at it. The positives far outweigh the negatives of Eyefinity in this game. And if you have Eyefinity, you should definitely be playing an Eyefinity, unless your machine slows to a crawl when you're doing so. So finally, I'm just going to talk about the basic logistics of the game. It is mostly like other RTSs, insofar as you have credits you use to buy stuff, and you also need resources to construct your ships, structures, fleets, anything like that. Your 2 resources are metal and crystal, and you mine them from asteroids that orbit planets and small moons. Once you conquer a system, you have to set up refineries on these asteroids and stuff to get the metal and crystal, and they're accumulative over time. They never run out. They're a slow IV drip as you play the game. They never change. However, the upgrades can allow you to get more of them at any single time. They can increase the amount of resources that you get per second. So the more upgrades you have, the more resources you're likely to get. Upgrades are governed by military structures and civilian structures, and you build these in the gravity wells of planets, and as I just said, they grant access to military and civilian upgrades. Civilian upgrades generally concern themselves with economy and your overall empire infrastructure, whereas military upgrades allow you to research more powerful weapons, more powerful ships, increase your fleet capacity, increase your capital ship capacity, stuff like that. Overall, if you're a fan of RTS games, and especially big RTS games like Supreme Commander, you should like this title. I was sort of hesitant myself before buying it, but after purchasing it and playing a few skirmishes, I was hooked. I play at least an hour every day now, and thoroughly enjoy the time that I spend with it. The learning curve, I don't want to call steep, but I'll say it's gradual. It's easy enough to pick up when you first start playing, but there's a lot more going on under the hood that will take a longer time to master. My name is Hexen. I'd like to thank you guys for watching today. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like and subscribe for hopefully more Tribes Ascend content. I apologize, I can't get you guys more videos of Tribes Ascend, but like I said, something's wrong and I can't fix it. I don't know what the deal is. Let me know in the comments if you guys want to see more Sins of a Solar Empire, or if you just want to see me stick to Tribes Ascend. Questions and comments are appreciated. Thanks again for watching, and I will catch you guys with the next video. Take it easy.